Hello, Wolfpack! We're back, and today we're going to be taking a look at something different this time. For those of you who don't know, both my brother Wolf and I love DC Comics. We both love Batman. We both love the over-the-top and dark stories of the DC Universe. But we used to love the CW's hit show, The Flash. This show was once a great series with tons of action, adventure, comedy, and well-told storytelling. However, I've personally grown a bit irritated with the way the show has been going since Season 3. Now, The Flash isn't perfect, but it has a lot of great moments in it. It still does. The earlier seasons did have some awkwardness to them, but you could easily look past most of it whenever it provided something truly epic. Sadly, in my opinion, the bad moments began to really increase over time, to the point where the show honestly feels too stupid and badly written to watch, even by bad DC standards, at least in my opinion. I hope the live-action Flash series does get better, but don't worry, this video is not going to be a fanboy hate rant. No, instead, it's going to be a fanboy praising rant. Despite my current biases on the downsliding melodrama, The Flash had one of his best stories ever featured on the criminally underrated cartoon series Batman, the Brave and the Bold, where our favorite Scarlet Speedster teams up with the Dark Knight in an adventure that showcases the Flash's great lore and reminds us why the fastest man alive is one of the best superheroes ever created. I mainly want to take a look at this particular episode to see the Flash at his best again, since his current show has lately gone through some seasonal rot. But seeing a classic DC show is a huge plus as well. I do like The Flash, both the series, the character, and the cartoon versions of him, but lately I need something to remind me why he's so great. So let's stop wasting time and run right in. Was this crossover between two epic heroes a fun rush of excitement, or has it crashed into a hard wall by now? Let's find out. This is my review on the Batman and Flash crossover story, Requiem for a Scarlet Speedster. So our episode opens up 2 years ago, where we get a montage of the Flash and Batman saving each other from the Flash's rogues gallery to show us that the two were once best friends.
People, let me tell you about my best friend. He's a warm-hearted person who loved me till the end. People, let me tell you about my best friend. He's a one-boy cuddly toy, my up, my down, my pride and joy. People, let me tell you about him. He's so much fun. Whether we're talking man to man or whether we're talking sun to sun, 'cause he's my best friend. Yeah, he's my best friend.
Yep, Batman and the Flash, aka Barry Allen, were total dude bros who had each other's backs, until we cut to the present day where it's revealed that Barry Allen is dead. Well, that's a downer. However, despite Barry's death, that hasn't stopped his villains from carrying on their criminal activities, as we see the rogues going on a rampage across Central City. Don't worry though, because Batman is here to save the day. Wait a minute, Batman is working in Central City? The Flash's hometown? I might sound like a newbie for asking this, but doesn't Batman guard Gotham City? He usually makes it pretty clear that whenever he's not working on Justice League business, he's watching over his own hometown. But I'm sure nothing that bad must be going on back in Gotham right about now.
The hell? Oh, what hell?
So Batman fights the rogues, but the villains swarm him before submitting our hero to negative criticisms and awful puns.
The rogues are taking this town by storm.
The villains temporarily subdue the Dark Knight, but then they go into a pretty weird ranting scene where they start to whine about how Batman isn't as cool as the Flash since Barry Allen was so suave. It's funny, but then it gets very weird when the villains sound like they had some disturbing sexual interest in the Flash. Really, just listen to this.
Flash was creative. He'd have run circles around us, spinning away our oxygen. Ha! All you do is punch and kick like a child throwing a tantrum. Your Scarlet Speedster would vibrate his molecules right out of that bronze. With a smile and an aw shucks that just made you want to rip him to shreds, you know? You miss him. Who? Us? Miss the Flash? Don't be absurd.
Geez, why don't you all just marry the Flash if you love him so much? The crying over their lost love Barry Allen is just so strange. I mean, sure, the CW does later give us a gay Captain Cold. Citizen Cold. Whatever. But really, all of the rogues are pining after our lost hero? That's almost as sad as having all of the Flash's villains sitting in a bar complaining about how he beats them up. But faster than the speed of light, Old Flash, aka Jay Garrick, and Kid Flash, aka Wally West, show up to save the day. But during this sweet action scene, the rogues turn into CW-verse hecklers when they still cry how lame all these other Flashes are compared to Barry Allen.
First geezer Flash, now baby Flash. Lame.
I know, right? What's next? A female Flash? A future son of the Flash? A zombie Flash? A mirror universe Flash? A Nazi Flash? What dumb show would ever conceive of such stupid ideas? Naturally, the heroes win the battle because, you know, the villains are all just guys with breakable weapons, but their victory is short, since when they bond together, Kid Flash acts cold to the older heroes and runs off to do some hero work alone. Batman wonders what Kid's problem is, but Jay decides to finally open up by telling Batman what's been going on between them after inviting him to his house for some hot cocoa. Come on, Cat, tell us what really happens. That is what really happens. Seriously, Jay Garrick invites Batman over to his pink suburban home to share hot cocoa and tell him some exposition. Perhaps I should have mentioned earlier that this cartoon is really weird. To any of you out there who don't know about Batman the Brave and the Bold, the show tends to mix together some wacky comedy elements with serious stories a lot, so get used to some bizarre setups that even the CW-verse would mock. Anyways, Jay exposits the story on how Barry Allen died. 2 years ago, the Flash family fought Barry's arch-nemesis, Professor Zoom, until one day, the evil lunatic finally succeeded at killing Barry Allen. Time for backstory! Now, for those of you who are unaware of the Flash lore, this guy, Professor Zoom, is the most dangerous and powerful foe that the Speedsters have ever faced. This villain is really a guy named Eobard Thawne.
The Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne. What kind of name is Eobard? The 25th century kind. He replicated the accident that allowed me to tap into the Speed Force. Became a criminal. Professor Zoom.
Thawne is a madman from the future, where the Flash is fondly idolized as one of the greatest heroes in the universe. Originally, Eobard was once a nerdy, crazed fanboy who looked up to Barry Allen as his hero, to the point of wanting to be him. Yep, we've got an obsessive fanboy on our hands, folks. He's going to be one of those bad guys. Thawne went to extreme lengths to be exactly like his hero, including recreating the accident that gave Barry his super speed. However, he soon began to envy his hero's popularity and desired to be better than Barry Allen ever was. And to do that, he time travels back to the days where Flash was younger to ruin his life and cause general mayhem for the fastest man alive. Why doesn't he just kill the hero? Well, Eobard doesn't simply kill Barry Allen off, because without the Flash, then he would never exist and become the powerful villain he is now. So instead, he settles on destroying Barry Allen's happy life by attacking the innocent people of Central City and murdering Barry's mother just to stick it to the Flash. Basically, take a villain who is a bitter, childish fanboy, add a little super speed to him, and then divide his morals by a hero of pure good, and you get the evilest speedster alive. So in short, Thawne is a big deal in the Flash universe, since he is the biggest threat to our fast hero. Though confusingly, this guy goes by many different names because comic books are weird. Thawne has been referred to by many different names, such as Professor Zoom, the Dark Flash, the Reverse Flash, Dr. Harrison Wells, and a few other false identities. But if Barry Allen is ever the current incarnation of the Flash, then his evil yellow counterpart is usually going to be Eobard Thawne. On this show, he's going by the title Professor Zoom, so I'll call him that for now, but I just wanted to warn you all not to mistake him for that other Zoom guy. Also, Thawne is well known for being a murderous bastard who kills people left and right, but the show thought that whole serial killer thing was too dark for kids, so instead he's a fascist madman with a god complex who loves to torture. Much better for the kids, right parents out there? But back in the flashback, Jay reveals that Barry, Kid Flash, and he chased down Professor Zoom across the entire globe until they ran so fast that they accidentally opened up a rift shattering space and time.
Of course! Don't you know anything about science?
They continued pursuing the man in yellow through the speed dimension, but Zoom faded away from existence. Realizing the danger, Barry Allen sacrificed himself by shoving Jay and Wally out of the portal so they wouldn't die too. The heroes assumed that Barry died fading away like Zoom did, and ever since that day, both Jay and Kid Flash have felt guilty about not being fast enough to save Barry.
What a story, Mark.
Batman comforts Jay, telling him that it's not his fault, but Jay admits that he's felt so guilty that he's imagined Barry's ghost haunting him from time to time. Then Batman just leaves. Wait, what? Batman just leaves him? What a jerk. I know that there are people who need protecting and all right now, but geez, Batman, you could have at least given him some motivational speech.
Cry me a river.
So as Batman drives home, he spots a familiar ghost in the road. No. Instead, he spots the ghost of Barry Allen, causing the Dark Knight to suspect that something is up. Well, at least all my horror fans out there might be satisfied since I am technically reviewing something with a ghost in it, so you can't say that this tale is out of my usual genre now. Batman goes to the Flash Museum. Yes, really, there's a Flash Museum. I guess HR finally achieved that dream in this universe. But Batman and the other Flashes talk about how the Dark Knight saw Barry's ghost in the street. And wouldn't you know it, all of the guys admit that they've been seeing Barry Allen's ghost too, only they never said anything about it since they thought it was all just guilt hallucinations. Guys, DC Universe, anything weird that happens to you is almost always a big deal. And just as everyone admits to seeing Barry's ghost shows up, where the Dark Knight scans him instantly. Batman suspects that the ghost is really Barry, sending them messages from another dimension, so the team used the cosmic treadmill to type up the frequency. of the ghost scan, I guess, where they plan to see where the holographic messages are coming from. Well, that all just makes too much sense. So the team finally decides to explore the mystery of Barry Allen's death by jogging on the cosmic treadmill, where even Batman can keep up with the two speedsters running faster than the speed of light, because he's Batman. And the trio teleport to the future. Wait, they were able to scan a ghost and follow its holographic trail all the way to the future? How does that even work?
Time travel, Barry. So very confusing.
So the heroes arrive in the 25th century, where guess who is president? What? Eobard Thawne is president? WTF? Hey, don't look at me. I voted for President Yellow. Unfortunately, the team is spotted and then attacked by Professor Zoom's Speed Nazis. Yes, really, our main villain has Speed Nazis. Only in the DC universe, am I right? The heroes are defeated, but Jay escapes in the chaos. Batman and Kid Flash are soon captured and dragged away to meet Emperor Zoom. But while Kid Flash continues whining about how much Jay sucks, Batman finally tells the kid to shut up in a pretty epic speech.
Can you believe Jay? Runs off and leaves his partners behind. Again. Enough. Jay's the original Flash and deserves your respect. You're not mad at him. You're mad at yourself because you feel just as guilty about leaving Barry behind as he does. But the Barry Allen I knew wouldn't stand for either of you wallowing in guilt or being at each other's throats.
I so wish Batman would come into the CW-verse just to tell off Felicity in the same way. We then see that the villainous Professor Zoom is alive, as he brags about how cool he is now that he's Supreme Emperor of the world, after finally stopping all enemies in his way. By the way, if I don't mention this, the Flash fans will kill me. In a pretty unique casting choice, Professor Zoom is voiced by none other than John Wesley Shipp, the original live-action actor of The Flash back on the 90s show, and also the guy who played both Henry Allen, Barry's father, and Jay Garrick on the CW Flash. That's right, the former actor for The Flash is playing our big villain. Not to be too nitpicky, but I'm a bit confused on why the show didn't get him to play the Barry Allen Flash again for the cartoon, since the DC writers did a similar thing by getting Mark Hamill to be the Trickster again. But since Professor Zoom does have more lines than Barry Allen does, I'm not complaining. It's ultimately a fun guest star playing a pretty dark villain in an homage to the Flash, which is a pretty nice touch. Anyways, when they ask how Thawne survived his death, Zoom reveals that he faked his demise in order to lure the Flash family into a trap where he could capture all of his enemies in his timeline. But he only got Barry in the end. But where's Barry now?
Here he is, the Sultan of Swoosh, the Scarlet Speedster, the once great Flash. Now a living dynamo powering my trooper's super speed and my rise to absolute power. What a twist!
Yep, it's revealed that Barry Allen is not dead because Zoom kept him alive as a trophy, where he shows that the Flash is now stuck in his evil giant hamster wheel. Only in the DC universe would that not come across as totally ridiculous. Oh, and just to clarify, this children's Batman show is telling us that this insane dictator has abducted an innocent man, kept him locked up in a torture machine without giving him food, water, sleep, or even a bathroom break, and is constantly tormenting him on how there's nothing the hero can do to stop him every day while he can't do anything. Aren't you so glad that Thawne was toned down from a murderer to a torture expert? Zoom brags how Barry is also now a power source that's empowering all of his speed artillery for his empire, including the speed bracelets on his speed Nazis and increasing his own superpowers to god levels of fastness. Jay comes in to save the day, only to get his butt kicked easily. Geez, Team Flash really can't function without Barry, can they? So now Zoom has all of the Flashes in his hamster wheel, making him even more powerful than he was before. Good job, Jay. He then brags to Batman that with his speed bracelets, his agility is unlimited now thanks to having 3 Flashes, and with his great power, he will travel to every time period in history so he can, you guessed it, take over the world.
Of course!
Oh no, Professor Zoom is now at god-level power and has seemingly won in the end after locking the Flashes up in his torture machine. So is he going to execute Batman to ensure his quick, easy victory? Nope, instead, he leaves Batman locked up in a small prison cell with only 1 guard. Wow, even back then, Eobard Thawne was making easy villain mistakes before joining up with the Legion of Dumb. Big shock, Batman escapes, and swipes a few speed bands so he can challenge Zoom. And Batman learns super speed pretty quickly, since he vibrates his molecules to escape his jail cell. Hold on, I thought having super speed was a struggle to fully learn, even for the Flash at first, but Batman gets a handle on it in his first few seconds?
I love being the goddamn Batman!
Back in the hamster wheel, Barry apologizes for bringing them all here, since, you know, he kind of helped out the villain in the end, but the Flash family forgives him, since they all finally make amends with each other. It's actually a pretty nice, heartwarming scene.
I used the generator as a cosmic treadmill to send after images of myself back to the past. The last thing I wanted was to get both of you trapped too. Now don't you start. This is my mess. If only I had been... Oh, give it a rest. I think we've dished out enough guilt for any 5 centuries. Sorry I've been such a jerk, Jay. It's Zoom who's to blame. And when our moment comes, we'll take him down. Because when you're a Flash, a moment's all you need.
What? No wanksting for 50 minutes like on the CW shows? Who would have guessed that you could have a nice emotional moment in a DC story without dragging it out for too long? But yeah, the heroes bonding together is quite nice and to the point. Meanwhile, Batman clobbers all the speed Nazis before he challenges Zoom to a final battle. Alright, we all know where this is going. The villain is going to brag about how Batman sucks and he's unstoppable, but the Dark Knight is going to beat him up effortlessly and save the day, because everyone who is not Batman sucks, and all the other DC heroes are nothing compared to the Bat God. So please, Batman, do what you always do and save the day, since all the other heroes suck so much compared to you.
Your reign is over, Zoom. Is it?
Holy curb stomp battle, Batman! Did the Dark Knight just get his butt whooped? You mean Zoom actually pwned Batman? Whoa, great plot turn there, writers. For once, Batman is not going to be the hero who saves the day and crush the villain. But if the overpowered Batman can't save the world this time, then who will? We cut back to the Wheel of Misfortune, where Barry reveals that with 3 Flashes running at super speed together, they can open up another time rift to escape this prison. But sadly, the rift will only be big enough for 1 person. They open up the time rift, and as you can guess, they send Barry through it, where he escapes and somehow ends up outside the villain base? Wait, is the rift a time portal or a dimensional portal? How did they generate a time portal knowing how it will only take Barry a few seconds into the future outside of the building?
Time travel, Barry. So very confusing.
We cut back to Batman getting beat up, but just when Zoom is about to finish him off, Barry Allen shows up just in time to save the day. Wow, you mean a hero other than Batman is going to get a chance to shine? I sure hope that means more DC executives will open up to that idea. And then we get a pretty epic final battle. Yep, the show gives us a grand showdown between the Flash and Professor Zoom that has them fistfighting while running all the way around the world. As you can see, it's pretty awesome, but it just needs the right music. Despite being augmented by the speed of two more Flashes still in his power machine, the Flash is able to defeat his evil counterpart with his brains rather than brawn, as he leads Zoom into his own trap, where Thawne is outsmarted in the most hilarious way possible. So Barry defeats Zoom, the Speed Nazi regime falls apart, Big Yellow is elected president now, and the team returns back to the present day, where the rogues fangasm all over Barry.
He's dead. He's back. Your brother plays out. They wouldn't cry. You don't mind if we take these? Wouldn't have it any other way.
Barry was tortured for 2 years running around in a speed reactor. You know, not to criticize this happy ending, but does Barry have no mental scars after being tortured by an insane villain for a large portion of his life? Heck, as far as the audience knows, he spent 2 years stuck in the giant hamster wheel as his archenemy used him to build a Nazi empire, and Barry had no way to eat, drink, sleep, or go to the bathroom. How is he unfazed by any of this? Now, to be fair, it is possible that Zoom used his time travel portal to affect the length of time they were in, so it might have been likely that while Barry was missing for 2 years in our time, he was only in Zoom's time for less than a few weeks. Of course, that doesn't make all this weird time travel stuff any less confusing.
Time travel, Barry. So very confusing.
But yeah, that was the end of Requiem for a Scarlet Speedster, the Batman-Flash crossover. How does it hold up? Well, to be honest, I think it was pretty great. The story is simple and fun, even with all the technobabble aside, and the villain is immensely enjoyable. I like the Flash, but Ship just steals the whole show in this. The only real negative thing I have to say is that it doesn't exactly throw you into all of the Flash lore, but it just gives you a taste of that superhero's world, which is what Brave and the Bold does in general, with all its heroes, so it's okay. It's a bit sad that Professor Zoom had to be toned down, since he's much darker in other stories, but they are pretty faithful to him for the most part. I really love John Wesley Shipp in this role, even more than as Henry on the CW Flash. Barry Allen really is a selfless smart hero in the story, which does prove why he's the ace icon everyone acts like he is. But thankfully, the other heroes who held the Flash title, like Jay Garrick and Wally West, are just as entertaining as he is, since in the end they receive the most character growth in this. I kind of wish that Barry was dead, so the story would focus more on Jay and Wally overcoming their guilt and beating Zoom up themselves to avenge their fallen pal. But it's a kid's show, so I can see the pros of having the real Flash alive and show off too. Overall, this story is a very fun adventure that does give proof on why Barry Allen Flash is considered one of the best superheroes ever. This is the kind of hero that Barry Allen is supposed to be viewed as on the CW show, but on this short story, he actually lives up to that honor. It's a nice story that's surprisingly 1,000 times much funnier than the terrible comedy moments that have been plaguing the last few Flash stories.
Nice work, Ralph. Nice work. Classy. You've got to be kidding me.
I highly recommend this episode if you want a fun standalone story where the Flash actually lives up to his noble heroics. In fact, I give this episode a gold icon. It's not perfect since the characters are kept simple, but as a show aimed at families, this fast-paced action story is a ton of fun and shows the brave and the bold under an awesome light. If you love The Flash, then you will really like this episode, since it shows the fastest man alive earning his place as the true hero we deserve. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, or just tune in for more videos posted here on Wolf Entertainment. I'm your host, Catastrophe, and I'll be back in a flash.
That joke was worse than the Savitar season, Cat.
Yeah, well, it's still funnier than Elongated Man. See you later, folks.
I'll be back in a flash.
Back in a flash. Wow. Does he say that often?
Too often.